The beef between T.S. Madison and Jess Hilarious looked like it's not ending anytime soon. On Wednesday morning, T.S. Madison hopped on YouTube Live to fire back at Jess and the rest of her critics. Now, during her rant, T.S. Madison would say most anger surrounding the issues of womanhood is misplaced because the real problem is the government using tactics to divide while taking away rights for all women. Later on in the live, T.S. Madison would directly address Jess comments and criticize her for making a blanket statement, insinuating that all trans women are mentally ill. Today, we have our comedy hype analysts, Yamanika Saunders, Joya, and Pierre calling to the show to give their thoughts and reactions. But first, let's take a look at this clip.
I don't think that Jess Hilarious looks like a man. I do think that she has masculine energy. My point here with Jess, which was she made a blanket statement and stated that all like trans women and trans people need to be in a straitjacket or like we're crazy. Why would you say anything like that when you know that you have that there are trans people that support you and love you and f with you? Because I definitely was one of them. I subtly said there are so many real women that get mistaken for being transgender women, and that's where a lot of anger comes from. I do hope they take a good look at how transphobia affects all women. I said that based off of the context of me watching Jess and me seeing that Jess has already experienced transphobia herself. Because she has experienced this, it does build up some type of people start feeling some type of way. Your anger is displaced. Y'all don't want to validate trans women's existence, and you don't want us to fall up under the umbrella of women, but unfortunately, sweetheart, we do. So let's do this. Let's just take out cis and trans, and let's put women. How about we just remove cis and trans and just say women?
Now, obviously, these are just a glimpse of a 50-minute live where she would go in as well on Tasha K, D.O. Hughley, as well as Jess Hilarious. So I want to talk about that first. Yamanika, I want to come to you first because we've been talking about this all week. This has been in the headlines all week. So I want your reaction to seeing T.S. Madison respond to Jess Hilarious, but also just in totality. What are your thoughts on this entire situation?
You know, I love T.S. Madison, and she has been very supportive to me. Anytime that I've interacted with her, I have never been challenged on my womanhood from her. It did rub me the wrong way, not with T.S. Madison, but a lot of trans women did start to immediately go into the attack of women, cis women. And don't come to me about cis women and saying cis women. We are having a conversation where we are talking about trans women and cis women. So it's not that I identify as a cis woman. This is for clarity, because a lot of people get in the comments saying, you ain't no cis woman. Let me say it so we can be clear. So when trans women were saying to cis women, oh, y'all look like a man, I wanted to speak about that. Let's go back into race for 1 second. Black women historically have been called men and masculine and look like a man. That is an insult that has come from racism. It has come from colorism. And it is something that Black men have also adapted. Every Black woman look like a man. If she speak too loud, if she do like that, she's a man. Now, there may be things about Jess Hilarious that I don't particularly like. In the very beginning, when she was getting her material and saying she was remixing jokes, I immediately blocked her because that's not how I get down as a comic. I don't know her personally, but she has grown and done her own thing, and she's got her own platform. I don't think she looks like a man either. I do think that is an insult that people put on Black women immediately to try to disparage our looks, that we are a man. Okay, so when you use that as a trans woman against a cis woman, you have to know that you also become a part of this conversation that is degrading women across the board.
Right.
But I do think we also got very confused about who said period and no period. When I first saw the clip, I thought it was about period. In a larger conversation, it is not necessarily about period. It's about who is assigned periods. So people are taking one little thing and they are running with it. And I do appreciate T.S. going on her platform and taking 50 minutes to explain what she has said.
Absolutely. Let me bring in Pierre now. Pierre, I know, as I mentioned, we've been talking on this topic all week. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. We're seeing T.S. Madison, as Yamanika said, take a live to really clarify exactly what her gripes were. What's your reaction to it?
I think it's becoming a word of semantics of words. And it's like call somebody a male and a man. You have to grow into a man. You know, everyone's born a male or female, but just like in every male isn't necessarily a man. Some people say in semantics of the word, a man is this, he takes care of his family, he's strength and all that kind of stuff. You know, yeah, you were born a male, but you didn't turn into a man. Like a house and a home. There's a house and a home. There's different variations of that. That's like when you see an openly flamboyant homosexual man. You don't consider, you know, we know he's a male, but he's not a man to us. A man's man. You get what I'm saying? People have a square of what a man is and what a woman is. How a woman, presents herself and how a man presents himself. And I think them are the semantics of it. When the period thing, you know, we already know what that is. Again, T.S. Madison's a friend of mine, and so is Just Hilarious. But like T.S. Madison said, we should eliminate all words. No, I like that. We have different countries. We don't say we just live in a world. We know we live in a world, but we have Asia, America, Brazil, you know, Latin America. We have all, so it's okay to have labels. I'm okay with that. Different kind of cars. So we can have males, females, homosexuals, transgenders. I'm okay with that. Instead of mixing them all together and being like, I don't know, you know, if you're gonna mix it all together, mix everything together. Food is food. What you gonna eat today? I'm gonna eat food. I can't say seafood because that's a particular type of food. I can't say soul food. I'm just gonna eat food. Where you live at? I live in a country. What country? We are in the world. What kind of car you drive? I just drive a car. No, it's okay to have different labels. It's not good to make, you know, one better than the other or try to hurt one another. Say we're better than China. China's better than South Africa. Or Africa's better than Europe. You know, that's where it becomes ugly when you put labels on stuff and make one better than the other. But we are, you know, at the end of the day, I think I want it still to be man, woman, homosexuals, transgenders, or whatever you want to call it. You know, how the levels of that. But I think it's semantics of the word woman, female, male, and a man. You know, you grow into certain things, and a person that looks like a female, like she, T.S. Madison, she knows she's a man, and you know, she was born a male. She was born a male. Now, if she wants to call herself a woman after that, you want to transgender, that's cool. I'm okay with that, whatever. But we know at the basis of the root where she was born, it was checked, male or female, and she was checked off as a male. Now, what you want to do after that and call yourself after that and consider yourself a woman, that's on you. But as the basis of what it is, it is. Like I said, just because you were born a male, don't mean you're a man when you grow up. There's some childish ass men, you know, males out there that don't present themselves as a man.
Joy, and that actually leads me to my next question. So thank you Pierre for even giving your insight on that. Joy, I want to ask you, one, are you offended being called a cis woman or that label kind of being put upon you? And then also, too, Pierre already gave his thoughts on it, so I'd love to hear us as well. We would hear T.S. Madison say we should remove all labels. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think we should remove cis and trans altogether in those types of labels?
Yeah, Symphony, Pierre said something really interesting about labels and whether we should remove labels or adhere to those labels. Labels have been placed on us since the beginning of time, especially Black and Indigenous people. It is up to you what you respond to when it comes to those labels. And I think that this was also a teachable moment for people who are identifying as a gender and gender identity and expression. Those are two totally different things. So it was a teachable moment for our community. As for me, yes, cisgender does offend me as a woman because I feel that is yet another label that's being placed on me as a woman and also a Black woman. I just like the term woman. But as far as the trans community, there has to be a different type of label placed on them because it's a different type of experience. And this is something that they name. People like Flame, people like T.S. Madison and others, they say that they have a different experiences, even Angelica Ross. So I do believe that as far as the label of trans, and a lot of them have taken that label and empowered that title to use when they show up in the world, I think that's something that they should continue to embrace. But I do believe that there has been a war on women. A war on womanhood, whatever spectrum that you fall under, whether it's trans femicide, whether it's women who are going about this world and their bodies are being policed by white policymakers, that is something that we need to be talking about. The argument about semantics and gender identity, and Blessing Rose who was the trans woman who originally said this on a podcast about women don't own periods. I believe that that was an argument that shouldn't have even happened. It shouldn't have even happened. You know, we have to stand up, like Jess Hilarious has said, for ourselves, because there is a war on women. And I just want us to be bold enough to love our trans sisters, like my friends Blossom and Jasmine Sasaki and Kayla Gore, that I love, but also be able to stand up for who we are and the labels that we respond to.
My mother's more than a birthing or bonus hole, a chest feeder. A lot of that shit is coming from new age and new generations of people that want inclusivity, but are also stepping on the spaces of like, all right, like, listen, don't do that. That sounds crazy as because it does sound crazy as motherfucking to be calling a woman a bonus hole. Shit is crazy. It sounds fucking crazy. It's just what it is.
So I just want to interject a few things. One, cis gender became a term that was introduced because we were now in a world where we had people who were transitioning. When someone is transitioning from one gender to the next, from male to female, female to male, they're transitioning because now they want to, that's what they want to be assigned to. And I have no problem with that. If you transition to be a woman, you want to be called a woman, being called a woman is fine to me. That doesn't negate how I feel. I think that there's a lot of emotions in terms of Jess felt some kind of way very deeply. She is also somebody who has a history of saying certain things about the LGBTQ plus community. So I think they're taking it, a lot of offense. It's become a very nasty cat fight. When we talk about the government and when women are talking about reproductive rights, when we talk about going into the doctor to have things like that, those are not concerns that trans women have to deal with, because not all of the things, there may be a vagina, but there's not going to be the whole thing, like how we go through the thing and people tell us that we can't have abortions and we can. So there are certain issues that are going to be specifically to women who were born women. And I do agree with Pierre. It becomes a lot about semantics. It becomes a lot about who wants to be called what. But I think the real issue is, why is it a problem for us to say trans women? I mean, we were fighting so much to have that right. And I also have to ask, why isn't it such a fight with trans men? Is it because people think they can have these conversations with women and women are just a place to attack? Because I don't see trans men going into spaces arguing with men. I don't know, Pierre can speak on that more. Have you had any challenges about a man, a trans man saying something to you? And how do you feel about a trans man saying that they're a man?
Okay, so that's what I'm confused. So trans man is a woman, a female who wants to be a man.
Who transitioned to be a man.
Shit. The manly places I go to, they don't want to be there. Okay, I don't normally see. I don't see that kind of order. I'm not saying I just don't see those kind of people. So no, I haven't had an experience of a female that turned into a man around where I'm hanging out at with dudes. They get to a certain point and they may want to back up off of it after that point. Where people who are born a man want to be a woman, they'll go all the way, because first of all, men have a more aggressiveness about stuff, so they're ready to go into a situation where it's all women to prove who they are. A woman who's born, she's at the end core of her, I believe, she still has a femininity, she's still feminine, who was born a female, a little bit of it that she don't want to maybe push into a man, a fully raw man space, because them men ain't gonna take it like that. They're not gonna be as sweet as the women are and argue and all that. Men might do a little more to a female who turned into a man who wants to be around manly stuff. It's just I get it here's a negative terminology, but the ones I've heard of are kind of like, well, it's not transgender. Because here's the wrong word, but what's a butch? A butch is not really, they're not really.
No, that is a lesbian.
Okay.
Who has been assigned this sort of, right. That they're masculine energies. Then you have aggressives, you have people who wear strap-ons. I mean, there's a lot that's going on. Let me just be very clear. I am a Christian, right? I believe, whether people like this or not, that Jesus Christ died on the cross for our sins. In my religion, my faith, homosexuality is a sin. All of these things are a sin. And yet somehow I have found a way to allow people the space to be who they are and love them as they are. I'm not Jesus. I'm not God to be judging people. I don't have a problem with people transitioning. I don't have a problem with people calling themselves women or men. And I think a lot of this is people feeling like their toes are stepped on, and it becomes these very two specific communities. The community that's in the trans community that feels like they have no place to go and they're being attacked, so they are coming for women. And then there are women who are feeling like they are being replaced, who are responding. I don't have these conversations with my friends who are trans. This is not a popular conversation that trans women are trying to replace women.
But let me ask you a question. Is it a thing where women have fought so hard to get whatever they could get out of the society that's run by men? From the time they were young women to now they're young girls, now they're women. They fought for so many rights, whatever. And they feel like, and I've heard this a lot, that now trans, I don't just call it, whatever, trans coming over there are hijacking and getting the privileges of something that females have fought for so long. For so long. Now they say, hold on, you want the same rights I've been fighting for just because you changed your mind or you decided recently you want to jump over here? And I think that's where the blowback is. When women are saying, just like black people sometimes say, hold on, I don't want to give gays the rights or whatever, because we've been working so hard for our rights first. Why are y'all getting rights too real quick? We've been fighting. So I think women have the same thing. They're saying, well, we fought for so much stuff. You just jumping on the board now and saying we want to be treated and have all the rights you guys have. And I think it's some kind of like a slap in the face, like, hold up. Let us get this before you start yelling that you deserve the same thing. I'm just saying that's why I think some women believe and think. And that's why the blowback is so hard from women to transgenders to me.
But again, our argument and our problem with which T.S. Madison was trying to illuminate, when we have issues as women, those issues are not, no matter what trans woman is saying, I'm arguing about trans. We're having an issue with the male patriarchy in America, who is controlling our bodies and our system. Trans women are still a part of a subculture that is not controlling anything. So it's a waste of time to fight there when we need to focus on who's really causing us to have problems. And it's not trans women, but also at the same time, I think that when we say trans women are coming for crime, I don't see it.
I agree with that. I agree with that too, Yamanika.
Yeah.
These conversations don't happen in the real world. And I believe our challenge to the Black trans community is that the space should be more collaborative. We shouldn't be waging war on each other. If you, in fact, join with us as natural born women, then the space should be collaborative about our issues and what we fight for.
I wanted to add this one thing, and I'm sorry, because it's so much information. And this is my first time really talking about it. When Black women are, the femicide rate for Black women is through the roof, right? For trans women, for women who transition to men who transition to be women, especially when they're Black, their numbers are percentage-wise double than the amount of femicide for Black women. So it is a very dangerous space that they are going into. So I try to give as much empathy and as much space for us to be in this space for both sides. I understand my women feel in a certain way, but I also understand trans women are very much under attack and being murdered, especially Black trans women. It is not safe for them.
Absolutely. And I'm going to hop in here. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I want you guys to continue this conversation. But Joya is actually going to take the lead on You Be the Judge to really talk about where's the real beef here. Is it with us or what we're seeing, in the government and in those things. So we'll be right back right after this.
I don't think that Jess Hilarious looks like a man. I do think that she has masculine energy. And that does not take away that women at the beginning, middle, and end of the day, when I stated women suffer from transphobia as well, that doesn't mean she doesn't get this. Obviously, the next day, academics posted that, oh, all this time, I thought that this was a man.
Hey, Hypers, it's Joya, your Justice Babe for Comedy Hype, and we're still continuing this conversation around transphobia and the comments of Blessing Rose, T.S. Madison, Jess Hilarious, and others that have joined in this conversation. You know, for me, I always want to pose that at the root of the word of transphobia is phobia, and phobia means a fear of something. So when we talk about our community and how we've grown on several issues, including the LGBTQIA community, is there a real fear of the trans community, or are people just annoyed or angry? What is going on with this label of transphobia that is often placed on Black folks when they just speak up or when they have a question around transgender issues? So I'm gonna start with you, Yamanika.
It's not just with trans. Black people have been blamed for not understanding a lot of different cultural things. And I think people come to us and say that because they expect us, because we've gone through so much, to just be empathetic. At the same time, people don't understand that Black people have a lot of issues that we still haven't resolved. We've got a lot of work to do. And I do understand Black people, my people, me being Black, when we see certain things, when we've had people talk about why is there a stop Asian hate and not a stop Black hate? Why are these things, you know, people like to surpass us and just use a platform with us and then jump off. So I do understand where people come from with that. At the same time, there's a lot of ignorance around the trans community, LGBT community. But let's be very real. There is a lot of dissension amongst the LGBT plus community amongst themselves. I've also spoken on how there is also racism in the LGBTQ plus community. So we all have our problems. The reason why I'm able to understand this, and not that I've never made any missteps or never will make any missteps, is because I have so many friends who are transitioned. I have so many friends who are gay and lesbian, as well as straight. So because I have that in my environment, I have to learn about it. I have to understand their feelings. I also see how they feel. And any arguments that we have had as friends and disagreements, when they've needed to correct me because of something I had wrong and I understood where it came from, I got corrected. And then when I needed to stand my ground, I stood my ground. So I'm fortunate for the friends that I have, and I'm fortunate that I'm a part of a community that understands that. But there are people that do not want trans people to exist, don't want to acknowledge them. And we have to also be very aware that they get discriminated against too. But I stand for my women. I stand that nobody can replace us. But once a person transitions to whatever gender that they want to transition to, we have to acknowledge that they are that gender.
Right. So Dave Chappelle has a bit on Sticks and Stones, and you talked about the dissension among the trans community and also the LGBTQIA community. You talked about the L's and everybody hates the L's and the B's and the T's. So Pierre, I want to shoot it to you. Do you believe that this argument is just a distraction in our community? Do you believe that this argument has merit in our community? Or do you believe it's just a distraction?
A lot of times something's new, it's, you know, we can be fearful of it. We don't know, you know, when we have, you know, and we have a right as a Black community to feel that we have been lied to, even from the time to be brought over to this country for what we were brought over for, and we got over here and found out it wasn't what it was. You know, a lot of people didn't know that it was going to be labor like it was in slavery and so forth. And every move the Black people, you know, we have done in this country have come with some stuff underneath it that was trickery, you know, redlining, all that kind of stuff. You move stuff out of the community, you make sure we don't have certain things. You think somebody's giving us something shiny and new, like, oh, thank you, but behind it, it's something behind it that's holding the situation down. We give out, you know, welfare or whatever, it's to hold the family back now. If you get welfare, you can't have certain people in your house, so all this kind of rules and stuff. So as a Black community, we feel kind of certain, like, hey, man, when something new comes to us, we're like, hold on, what's up? Before you start shoving it down our throat, we have a right to say, hold up. And to many Black people, they feel like the whole transgender movement, jumping on the sexes and, you know, being male or female, is new to us. And we're like, hold on, you know, we haven't gotten what we wanted. Just like when you say, you know, gays want rights, Black people say, well, hold on, hey, you know, we didn't get our rights yet. So it's the same thing with transgender coming over and saying, hold on, man, let us get our footing together. And a lot of people are fearing of that. We just black people. We're just fearing it, and we have rightfully from the years of stuff that's done to us, we feel that way. So yes, to be afraid, have a little phobia, yeah, it's natural. I mean, it's coming, from a lot of baggage and stuff that we've gone through. So yes, hopefully we'll get to a point where we can trust or feel better about different people coming around us. But you got to understand the years of how we've been treated for centuries and centuries. I understand that. The question was about what again about the do we feel with Dave Chappelle? Did that have what was the question on that again?
No, we were just talking about the dissension that's in their own community that they have, that they need to solve the contention that's in their own community, LGBTQIA community.
Well, yeah, but every community gonna have some blowback from each other. There's white folks that don't like certain white folks. There's black people who don't like certain black people. How black people roll, you know what I'm saying? It's always gonna be some inner dissension when you put a group together. It's natural. Everybody doesn't move together the exact same way. Trust me. Even the Jews don't work the same way amongst each other in the Jewish community. Some Jews don't want people to be around Hasidic Jews or certain people. So I get it. So do they fight amongst themselves? Yeah, they will. They sure do. It's just normal. Nothing new here. I'll just be glad when, we get I think the problem is respect, Respect, is a thing. And until you feel like you've been respected, you don't want to give respect. Hurt people. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's why I can have an opinion, or we can have an opinion on here, and somebody will call us a name. You clown, you whack, you like, why did you call? I just had an opinion. Just say you don't like my opinion. Why the name calling? Because they're hurt. When people say stuff in the comments that are negative with words or like, F you, or you clown, you this, it's because they're hurt. I've realized that. So that doesn't bother me in the comments no more. Because I know you're a hurt person.
Right.
It's not about my opinion. It's about you one trying to hurt me. I'm just giving you an opinion. I don't like apples because you like apples. And I'm a clown now. I'm whack. I'm you know what I'm saying? It's like you're a hurt person making an expression. So until we feel like we can get the respect or we can respect each other, it's going to be a long uphill battle.
Absolutely. And Pierre and Yamanika, you guys are always on point with this topic. I will say that natural born women, sometimes we do feel like our spaces have been hijacked. But again, I challenge the Black trans community to be more collaborative so that we can address the real issues. You've heard what we have to say. Now you be the judge in those comments. We're not afraid of those comments. So thank you so much for tuning in to Comedy Hype. It's Joya.
Well, before we close out, I like to know what you have going on. Yamanika, you kicked us off, so I'll start with you. What do you have coming up? And of course, how can people keep up?
Yes, you can catch me at everything at Yamanika. I'm sorry that I had to change my date. I was supposed to be at the Atlanta Comedy Club, but my anemia is just draining me. August 28th through September 2nd, I will be in Las Vegas at the Comedy Cellar in Rio. I'm also going to take this time to say really quickly, one of the reasons why I wanted to go is because a very funny and talented comedian, Crystal Powell, is doing her residency with Magic Mike. So I'm going to take a day off to go see that. So if you're in Las Vegas, come with me to see Magic Mike. But everything at Yamanika, I want to give a shout out to Pierre today. I thank him for, communicating well, being very gentle, and making sure that he gets, the information. And we got to give people their credit when they do stuff like that. Not everybody is aware of this type of topic. So I just wanted to give a special shout out to my brother, because I know he is always trying to make sure he communicates for everybody in the best way.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I love it. Pierre, I think I got to come to you next. What do you have coming up? And of course, how can people keep up?
I just want to repeat what she said. Just repeat it. Keep put that on repeat. Okay, put that on repeat. All right, Comic Pierre, COMICPIERRE. Lately, people have been hitting me in the DMs like crazy for the show. So I love it. As I hit me up, I respond. This weekend, I'm going to Vegas for the fight. So if you're out in Vegas for the big fight between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, I'll be in the place to be, hanging out with my microphone, talking and getting interviews with whoever I can, man. I'm excited. Hopefully I'll be here next week for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And again, I love all the folks who watch the show, even the ones who put the crazy comments in. That's what I do it for. And again, the whole cast of all you guys. Thank y'all. And I will see you next week, God willing.
Absolutely. Last and certainly not least, Joya, thank you for chiming in on this topic, as well as taking us further, and you be the judge. I'm coming to you. What do you have coming up? And of course, how can people follow you?
It is so good to be on this panel. I always enjoy my Wednesdays with all of you. You always have such great things going on. But for me, I've recently started an initiative to bring Black and Indigenous clergy into some of my legal and policy work. The organization is called Faith Leaders of Color Coalition, or flockjustice.org. So if you are a pastor or a member of a faith community and you want to learn more about the American death penalty system, please hit me up at IG at justicebay_.
I love it. If I don't say it enough, thank you for all the work that you're doing, Joya. Now, as you notice, I'm not in the studio. I'm actually out in Houston, Texas at the National Urban League. I'm very excited to be here. A lot of people, a lot of initiatives, a lot of conversations that are needed right now, especially, some of the topics that we're talking about. So as always, I appreciate you all, and I'll be back in studio next week. But to further the conversation, let us know what you think down in the comments below. T.S. Madison responds to Jess Hilarious on the Woman Debate. For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Put it in the comments. Oh, you gonna put it in the
I'll
comments?
see y'all.
Oh, they gonna be in the comments.
What's up? I'm Terrence Sims. For years, you come to us to get the latest news in comedy and for your favorite comedians. Now, you can come to us for even more news in the world of sports, music, and pop culture. We're bringing you some of our classic shows you love, like Unforgotten, the Comedy Hype News Show, and more one-on-one interviews. We're more than just laughs, we're the culture, the leader in truth. And well, your streamer got a little more blacker. Welcome to Hype Plus.